All right, settle in, because what I'm about to tell you isn't just some campfire story. This happened. This was my life, just a few months back. My name's Leo, and I drive for Uber. It's usually a pretty straightforward gig, you know? Pick people up, drop them off, maybe get a decent conversation, maybe just awkward silence, but one night broke all the rules. It was a Tuesday, I think. The kind of drizzly, miserable night where most sensible people are already tucked in bed. The city was slick with rain, streetlights smearing across my windshield like wet paint. The pings had been slow, and I was about ready to call it a night myself. Then, just as I was heading home, my phone buzzed. A pickup request. The address was a bit out of the way, on the edge of town where the new subdivisions start to fade into old farmland. The destination? A place called Blackwood Manor, way out on Route 9. I'd never heard of it, but hey, a fair's a fair, right? I pulled up to a modest, well-kept house. The porch light was on, cutting a warm, yellow square out of the gloom. A woman stood there, silhouetted. As she walked to my car, I saw she was elderly, with kind eyes and silver hair pinned up neatly. She had a small, old-fashioned leather suitcase. She smiled as she got in the back. "Blackwood Manor, please," she said, her voice soft and a little shaky. "It's been a long time." We started driving. She was pleasant, chatty. Told me she was visiting her daughter, who was the caretaker at the old estate. She described the place with such fondness, talking about the grand gardens and the beautiful architecture. It sounded lovely. The city lights disappeared behind us, replaced by the dark, skeletal shapes of trees lining the road. The rain was coming down harder now, drumming on the roof of the car. "We're getting close," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "Just around this next bend." I slowed down, peering through the rain-swept darkness. Up ahead I saw it, two massive wrought-iron gates, flanked by stone pillars. They were open just enough for a car to slip through. A weathered sign, barely legible, read, "Blackwood Manor." It looked nothing like the idyllic place she'd described. It was derelict. The gardens were choked with weeds, and the house itself was a dark, hulking shadow against the stormy sky, with boarded-up windows and a sagging roof. It looked like it had been abandoned for decades. I turned back to ask her if this was really the right place. The back seat was empty. The seatbelt was still buckled. A cold dread, colder than the rain, washed over me. Her suitcase wasn't there. Nothing. It was as if she had just vanished. My heart was pounding in my chest. I wanted to floor it, to get out of there as fast as I could. But then I saw it. A faint light, flickering in one of the upstairs windows of the decrepit mansion. My mind was screaming at me to leave, but I couldn't. What if she was in trouble? What if she'd somehow gotten out of the car and gone inside? Against my better judgment, I grabbed my mag light, got out of the car, and pushed the heavy gate open a little wider. The hinges groaned in protest. I walked up the cracked and overgrown path, my footsteps sounding unnervingly loud in the silence between thunderclaps. The front door was unlocked. It swung inward with a long, drawn-out creak that echoed through what must have been a grand foyer. The air inside was thick with the smell of dust and decay. My flashlight beam cut through the darkness, revealing peeling wallpaper, cobwebs thick as cotton, and furniture draped in white sheets, like ghosts waiting in a forgotten ballroom. "Hello," I called out, my voice trembling. "Ma'am, are you in here?" Only the sound of the rain and my own ragged breathing answered. I moved deeper into the house, my light scanning the rooms. A decaying library, a formal dining room with a long, dust-covered table. Every shadow seemed to move. Every creak of the floorboards felt like a footstep behind me. Then I heard it. Faintly, from upstairs, the soft, gentle notes of a piano. My blood ran cold. I followed the sound up a sweeping, rickety staircase. The music grew clearer, a hauntingly beautiful melody, but it felt wrong. It was coming from a room at the end of the hall. The door was slightly ajar. I pushed it open. The room was a bedroom, and in the center sat an old piano. The keys were moving, pressing down and rising up, playing the melody all by themselves. No one was there. I backed away slowly, my hand shaking so much I could barely hold the flashlight steady. As the beam swept across the room, it landed on a small leather-bound photo album lying on a dusty nightstand. I don't know why, but I picked it up. I opened it to a random page. It was a black and white photograph of a young woman sitting at that very piano. She was smiling, but her eyes were filled with a profound sadness. Beneath the photo, a handwritten caption, Eliza Blackwood, 1928. She loved her music more than anything. And then I saw her face. It was her. A younger, vibrant version of the sweet old woman I'd just picked up. My breath caught in my throat. I slammed the book shut and turned to run. That's when the piano music stopped. Abruptly, silence descended on the house, heavy and absolute. I didn't wait. I sprinted out of that room, down the stairs, not caring if they broke under my weight. I burst out of the front door and didn't stop running until I was back in my car, fumbling with the keys, my hands slick with sweat. I slammed the car in reverse and sped out of that driveway, the tires spinning in the mud. I didn't look back. I just drove. When I was miles away, my phone buzzed again. It was a notification from the app. Ride canceled. Below it, a message from the passenger. My heart stopped. It read, "Thank you for the ride. It was lovely to see my home one last time." I had to pull over. I was shaking too hard to drive. I quit driving for Uber that night. I still have nightmares about that house, about the piano playing on its own, and about the sad, kind eyes of the woman in my back seat. Some places hold on to their stories, and sometimes, if you're unlucky, you become part of one. Thanks for listening to my story. It's one I'll never forget, no matter how hard I try. If you like these kinds of real-life encounters, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Stay safe out there.